You're now live on YouTube.
All right, we're ready to go. All right, get this meeting started. Welcome everyone. It's September already. We'll stand, we'll do the invocation and the pledge.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Lord, for letting us live here in Unicoi, the most beautiful place in the world. I pray that you will be with us, guide us, direct us as we conduct business for the town. In Christ's name,
Amen. Amen. Attention, salute, pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of
America,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with
liberty
and
and
justice
justice
for
for
all.
all.
Debbie, would you call the roll, please?
Yes.
Charlene Thomas,
Yes, and I can hear and see, or hear, yes, hear and see.
David Reed,
Yes. Here.
Phyllis Fox,
I'm here and I can see.
Doug Hobson,
I'm here and I can see you.
Johnny Lynch,
I'm here and I can see you.
Dan Buchanan,
I'm here. And I can see.
Todd Hobson.
Here, and I can hear and see. Okay, first item, approval of last month's meeting minutes. Everyone has a copy? Make a motion to approve last month's minutes. Second. Don't have a motion and a second to approve last month's meeting minutes. Any comments, questions? Debbie?
Charlene Thomas,
Yes,
David Ramsey,
Yes.
Phyllis Fox,
Yes,
Doug Hobson,
Yes.
Johnny Lynch,
Yes.
Dan Buchanan,
Yes.
Todd Hobson.
Yes. Okay. Motion carries. No, we have nothing under old business. Only item under new business is discuss and review site plan for the Harvest Kitchen Village Place sign. If you want to speak to that.
Lee's not in this meeting.
Got this. Yeah, okay. Both and zoning appeals granted a variance, and it's contingent upon site plan approval by the planning commission. I know some of us met out there. I didn't make it. I'm okay with doing it.
Looks good to me. I'd like to make a motion to approve the site plan.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the site plan for the Village Place sign. Any discussion? Debbie?
Charlene Thomas,
Yes,
David Ramsey,
Yes.
Phyllis Fox,
yes,
Doug Hobson,
Yes.
Johnny Lynch,
Yes.
Dan Buchanan,
Yes.
Todd Hobson.
Yes, okay, motion carries. All right, nothing under other business. Do we have anybody here that would like to address the board? The court was online.
Well, yes, I would. I think the last time I spoke to you all, and I appreciate you letting me speak, and my wife Margaret will speak too, but I think it was at your June meeting. And so we were talking about the asphalt plant issue with Summers Taylor's application to put an asphalt plant, a new asphalt plant, kind of near the same vicinity where the CAPS plant is. So there's been some changes, and I wanted to bring you up to speed on the current status of that application, because I think it's things you should know. Basically, there's a current application that's active for the CAPS plant. It still exists and it expires on November 1st. There's a pending application to extend that current permit, but it hadn't been approved yet, and shouldn't be, I don't think. But anyway, that's a 2-acre parcel that asphalt operations are grandfathered in on because they existed there before the town existed and before the town passed an ordinance in 1995 forbidding future asphalt plants right in the town. But the current application that's being reviewed now by TDEC and by its air pollution control division clearly shows that the plan for that plant is to put it on 2 parcels that are nearby the CAPS parcel, but they're not the same parcels, and they're in 2 parcels that are up toward Marbleton Road that comprise about 3 acres total, and they're zoned agricultural, low density by the town, and they're zoned residential by the county, and I think it's clear, don't conform to the town's zoning laws or to that ordinance that I mentioned. So the thing is that I think that TDEC will almost certainly approve their application once they've got all their ducks in a row on the application. But TDEC doesn't care about zoning. That's not their business. That's not their department, and that's your business. And so they kind of throw the ball to the local municipality, you guys in this case, to approve or not approve. What TDEC does is give that once they pass that air quality permit, they give the company construction permit, which says you can go ahead and construct, but first you have to make sure to clear it with the town. And so that's where the ball lands in your park. And so I wanted to let you know that that's the status of it now. And it could be coming down the pipe pretty clearly to you. And I guess kind of like the way I think of it is, let's say that a company wanted to put in a landfill. There's another division that would deal with landfills in Nashville and TDEC. And once that company made a thorough, professional application that crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's, TDEC would give them permission to construct a landfill. But let's say they wanted to build that landfill right in the middle of the town of Unicoi, right next to the elementary school, let's say, or something like that. TDEC doesn't care where they build it, and that would come then to you guys to approve whether they could do that or not. So that's going to be the status of this at some point. And I just want to let you know that. I mean, it's kind of your job then to deal with that issue once it hits your plate. Kind of somebody mentioned to me, it sounds kind of trivial in a way, but it's kind of like somebody gave me the analogy of, let's say there's a teenager who wants to go out tonight, but he needs to borrow the family car. And so he asked mom, and mom says, sure, honey, you can go out. And he asked dad, and dad says, no, I don't want you going out for whatever reason. And the kid says, well, mom says yes, and dad says no. But so who do I go to here? And dad says, well, I got the keys, and I'm not giving them to mom. And I'm not giving them to you. You're not going out. And so it's kind of like TDEC is mom, right? They can approve that application. And don't laugh too much here, Allison. But then dad's the one says he's got the rules, he's got the keys, and he says, no, you're not going out. And that's the end of the story. So you guys are the ones with the keys. And maybe that's a way to remember this. In the end, you're the ones with the keys to the car. So I wanted to, just to thank you for letting me talk. And I think this is something that in the end, because of the nature of the expansion that's being planned here, will really affect kind of our livelihoods here and our quality of life and our lifestyles here. So if Margaret wants to talk and she's able to get on, she can, or Charlene would like to interject something.
Yeah,
But anyway, I think I'm kind of done. I'm just saying the ball is going to end up in your plate, and I just wanted to, really alert you to that fact. And it's going to be fairly soon.
All right, got a question for you.
All right.
When is mom supposed to make her ruling?
We don't know, but it's been first Summers Taylor submitted an application that was judged to be incomplete. So then they were required to submit another application. I think it's probably complete because they submitted the site plan that I was describing that shows the location for the first time as being on these 2 other parcels that are not zoned for this kind of operation. And so it's been, their application review has been underway for some time, but I don't work there, so I can't tell you when they're going to complete it, but it could be any day. It could be tomorrow. It could be a month from now. I have no idea.
Just for information, I brought some handouts to the office today. And if you look on the one that's marked number 1, that will show you on the left-hand bottom corner, it will show you the existing CAPS plant. And then if you look at the upper right-hand corner and that red line, that will show you where they intend to put the new plant. This is their drawing that they submitted to the state of Tennessee. And that area is not zoned industrial. That's what court's referring to. That area is zoned either agricultural or residential, depending on the county and the town. If you look on page 3, the handout that says 3 in the corner, you can see you can see the real existing plant is in the blue square, hexagon, trapezoid, whatever. That's their grandfathered in location. But if you look over to the right, there's those 2 little sections of property that they own and have just recently purchased, but that is not zoned industrial or commercial. And my fear, and the fear of many people, is that they're already constructing and that they're not going to come to us. They're just going to go do this thing and then ask for permission later or bulldoze through us or whatever, because we're a small town. So we need to make sure that we're on top of this somehow, some way. There you go. Take it away.
Thank you, Charlene.
You're welcome, Tom.
Anybody else have anything to add?
I don't understand on this one thing. I don't understand how the state that's supposed to protect us from all this foul air coming out and all this. I mean, how they can approve it, even though they have nothing to do with zoning. They do have something to do with air quality, and that just straight drives me crazy. Why would they allow that? I mean, don't they know that it's a little valley?
Phyllis, they're reporting to the state that they're going to only manufacture a certain limit. And that limit puts them under the amount that causes the state to even come in and assess what they're doing. They're
Well, but
self-reporting.
But the original CAPS plant made 48,000 pounds, if I remember correctly, of asphalt. And they're talking about, they're saying they're going to do 100,000 pounds of asphalt. Is it pounds, tons, pounds, whatever. But I mean, that's more than twice as much. And they actually have permission to go much further than that. And I don't understand how the state can allow that. I mean, you know,
Phyllis, it is kind of a mystery, and other people ask that question. It's just kind of an historical disconnect, and it's true in a lot of states, many states around the country, that the air quality evaluation is just disconnected from the location aspect, and there's a wall between them, and so the air quality permit is approved and thrown over the wall to the people who then approve zoning. But you're right, they ought to be connected, but they're not. It's just the way it is, basically.
Margaret needs to unmute.
Hi.
Okay, you're good. Okay, good.
Okay, basically, I wanted to talk to you about, in general, some things that I've been thinking about and some concerns I have. And I think a lot has changed with COVID. And I've read lately a lot of people are wanting to move into our type of town that's rural, out of the big cities. And likewise, industries the same. And as I've looked at this, I have some concerns about the vulnerability of our town when it comes to the kind of ordinances that protect our health, our lifestyle, our property values. But I think that it's possible to use an example of, let's say a legal business wanted to move into town and they had a need to run their businesses 24/7, big trucks at night. Do we have ordinances that address that, or are we vulnerable to that kind of activity? So I think there's a lot of concern in our community among the residents, and I would hope that we could maybe come together and look at what ordinances and measures we have in place, and what we have out there, so that we don't have, let's use as an example, a landfill, operation that wants to move in. I think Court mentioned that. And how do we then, what do we have in place? What do we need to do that we can propose, discuss, debate, pass, and do whatever to protect the citizens, to protect our mountain community, to protect our lifestyle and the things that we moved here for and the things that we love about this community. So I'm hoping that we look at the power that you have, that the community has in their zoning and their ordinances, and see if we are protected and if our land values are protected. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I've given a lot of thought to it, and I would hope we could maybe move forward on something like that. Thank
Todd,
you.
I would be willing, if we wanted to create a committee or even have another meeting or whatever, to come up with some ordinances that other towns have created that we could look at and start thinking about what do we want for our particular community. Because right now I'm not, and of course I'm new, well, about a year on this committee, but on this commission, I don't know that we have any protections in place for much of anything. And I know we have a tire plant. I don't know what kind of restrictions are on that plant and what they can do. Do we have anything like that? Johnny, Todd, anybody?
Well, with the tire plant, they came in before we had zoning, but we were a town and we did wine and dine and wheel and deal and beg them to do a good job. And they brought in the very, very latest at the time environmental controls. Basically for, I don't know if you remember Bernice McIntosh, Model A Mac.
Yeah.
Basically, they did that for him and the community came together and asked them to do that. And they did. They were very, very good. And if you go by that tire plant, there is, I mean, there's smoke in the air, but they've used the very latest. The thing that concerns me, and Erica and Allison, this would be a question for you two. If we put in, can we do something like say, we do not want any, well, here's the thing. We at one point put in an ordinance that we did not want, what is it? One of those drug places that people get, methadone clinics. And I noticed I don't think it is in our things anymore. And there's been a couple of other things when I've looked through the zoning, they said, oh, you can't do that anymore. Can we outlaw heavy industry? Is there a wording we can put in to say no heavy industry is allowed in our town? Or
Well,
no
we have an
dirt,
ordinance that says no asphalt plants.
no asphalt
We
plant
got
is
one of
in there.
those.
Yeah, that's an ordinance, yeah. But what about heavy industry? Can we do that? Is that legal to say, we do not want heavy industry in our town?
There is definitely, oh, sorry, Erica, if you know something, but you can, and correct me if I'm wrong, Erica, but you can make and restrict whatever it is in a zone. So just like Ms. Thomas said about like we have in the ordinance now, no asphalt plants. You can make that a, overall arching theme. The trouble we're running into here, and I actually just pulled up on my computer, just the legal non-conforming stuff. That's where it makes this hard. And I can read off to you what this says, if y'all want me to. And you again, stop me if I'm beating a dead horse with it, but just to reiterate what it says here, the current non-conforming uses, any lawful use of any building or land existing at the time of the enactment of this ordinance, or whenever a district is changed by an amendment thereafter may be continued, although such use does not conform with provisions, i.e. the asphalt plant. Section 401.1, no building or land containing a non-conforming use shall hereafter be extended unless such extension shall conform with the provisions of this ordinance for the district in which that is located, provided. However, that a non-conforming use may be extended throughout those parts of a building which were manifestly arranged or designed for such use prior to the time of enactment. Provided also that single-family residential dwellings erected or placed within the plan. Okay, so that's a planned business district right there. So that has a special ordinance. So then it goes down here, any non-conforming building which has been damaged by fire or other causes may be reconstructed. So it goes on, and that's exactly what Ms. Thomas and Court pointed out, that if they were to build on the parcels that they bought, that is illegal. The zoning, and correct me, Erica, but that's how I understand it, that as long as they stay on the 2-acre parcel, and I believe it's within that 6-month period, and turn it around and keep it an asphalt plant, that's permissible. But if they were to extend to another parcel of land, that's where it becomes not permissible. Now, just like, you can use this for an example too, mobile homes, so like single wide trailers, those aren't allowed anymore. Basically anywhere that I know that I cover or Erica covers, and there are special exemptions, or excuse me, special wording that says, like mobile homes are not allowed, or sometimes they can say double wide trailers are seen as whatever it is, and they don't allow that to happen. So you could potentially, in my mind, how I understand it is, moving forward, you could say like no industry period in this area. But the issue though is, like we said, that's what the zoning is protecting now. That's why we have the agricultural districts and the residential districts and things like that. As far as I know, the town, I don't know if we have any industrial districts for the town of Unicoi, but that's what the zoning has protected us from, is something like this. But the issue runs into the legal non-conforming, which unfortunately we can't get rid of. But we what can be stopped, however, is if they were to try to build another building in a residential area, then that's just not allowed. So I don't know if that answered your question. It probably didn't, but.
Oh, it's a great point. And actually, Allison, they have already bled outside of those 2 acres. They've built a building that extended beyond the 2 acres. They're dumping their trash beyond the 2 acres. So they've already done illegal things beyond this 2 acres. So now we've got to figure out what our recourse is. And of course, we're fighting Summers Taylor, but we've got to figure out our recourse. And the reason for ordinances is to help control what's going to happen in the future, just so we are ready for whatever comes down in the future. So let's say they keep those 2 acres. Okay, I'm fine with that. I'm not opposed to their 2 acres. But do we want trucks going up and down that road every night, all night long? And I live across the valley. I hear them. We can hear them up here. We can hear the trucks. We can hear the beep, 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 beep. So we want to be able to monitor that. And I know we can by just writing those ordinances out and get them passed through the Planning Commission and the BMA. So what I'm asking you, Todd, and the rest of our committee is to let us work on this so that we're not 6 months down the road going, shoot, what have we done? We've got a monster on our hands, and we let it happen.
Charlene, this is David. I've got a couple of questions.
Go for it, David.
I don't know who wants to answer it, but somewhere along the line, and I'm late to the game here, somewhere along the line, I believe I heard someone say that Summers Taylor was planning to use some new processes that were less polluting when they developed that. Is that correct?
30-year-old equipment.
Margaret can address that. She knows that better than anybody.
Okay,
The application to TDEC indicates the word recently acquired. When I looked at the manufacturing date of the drum, it was 30 years ago that it was manufactured.
okay.
It
So,
might be newer than caps,
Right.
but there's no way for me to determine the recency, so to speak, of its ability and to produce less air emissions.
but whether it's any cleaner or not. Okay, my second question would be, there's obvious opposition to Summers Taylor developing the other parcels of land up there. And I certainly understand that because that goes against our existing zoning ordinances. But if they chose to stay within the existing 2 acres and operate an asphalt plant, is there still opposition to that?
Can we answer that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we have any right to oppose that. I think that would be, if they can stay within the 2 acre grandfathered in parcel, they're allowed to run their operation, whatever they can squeeze in there.
Okay, I
But
just want,
that's where, but David, that's where the ordinances can come into play. Because right now, as you know, people live around that area. There's houses right there coming out on to the road. There's houses. And so we can at least monitor what we allow them to do to help those neighbors over there. I can't even imagine being someone who lives in that area. Your house value is, there's no value, because who wants to live on that street where those trucks are going up and down the highway all the time?
and when you say that area, you're referring to the new area that they're proposing?
Well, it's all there together. You know, if you look on that map, you know, that the Bill Garland Road comes, and then the Marbleton Road, you know, both of those roads will be, what they wanted to do is they want to go down the Bill Garland and kind of make it a one-way loop. We think, you know, going in and around so that the trucks can, because once they get started on something like an interstate project, they're going to be running all night long, just round and around and around. And so there's houses. I mean, you know that. There's people who live over there.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just trying to get it all clear in my mind,
Yeah.
what's proposed and what would be acceptable. Thank you.
Can I possibly say one more thing? I mean,
Yeah.
like when, you know, people like you guys, who are town leaders, when you look at a thing like this, you try to look at both the pros and the cons, not just one side, right? Excuse me. But so I think we heard from the president of Summers Taylor back at the BMA meeting in June, and some questions were asked about the possible benefits, the pros, the benefits to the town. And without getting into what was said, I'll just tell you that there's going to be no local option sales tax paid for any state or local municipality contract work, or for any wholesale work. Let's say I've got, you know, Dave's driveway paving, and I buy wholesale from them. I don't pay sales tax on that. It's only
Right.
sales tax on retail. So there's one
Yeah.
thing that we will get very, very little sales tax out of these big operations that go on. Another thing is that they will have more expensive equipment on there for sure if they move onto the 2 acre site than the existing caps plant. It's much more expensive stuff. And so the statement was made that the property taxes would be higher, but those taxes go to the county. They don't go to the town, right? And then the question was asked, one of the aldermen asked, well, what about employment? We'd be employing a lot of people. And the answer was, well, when they were finally pressed, was, well, actually, it takes 5 people to run this plant. And then I think it was Charlene asked, will we be hiring people locally to run the plant? And kind of the answer was, well, we actually probably already have employees who'll be running the plant, but they live in Unicoi. So anyway, so I guess what I'm saying is it's going to be a one-way street. The only really residual question is, where would we get asphalt? And that, you know, the asphalt can be made somewhere else. And, you know, I'm not going to get into speculation about where that could be, but I mean, really, it's a one-way street. A lot of the usual benefits you get from a big industrial operation like this just won't be there for the town of Unicoi.
Thank you, Gordon. Anybody else have anything? Has the town heard anything from?
Can I make a comment too, or ask?
Yes, Bill.
One of the things that we haven't talked about is the quarry, which is essentially right next to the proposed asphalt plant. And I'm just wondering what effect that plant might have on the quarry operations.
Quarry's closed right now.
You get a lot of noise.
Yes, but I think it's gonna open back up.
Yeah.
That would
Well-
be the assumption, because they would need some of that stone to produce the asphalt.
Yes.
So we're gonna get a double whammy here.
And that's again where the ordinance would help us. We can monitor the rock quarry, we can monitor the asphalt plant and any future plants or business, anything that's in the future. I mean, we've got to be prepared, guys. We can't just sit back and do nothing, because that's what this town's done for a long time.
But ordinances are in place now to take care of this.
Are there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can pull them out and show them to us?
Well, yeah, well, there's an ordinance that says no asphalt plants, so
Yeah. Yeah,
that one's grandfathered in,
yeah.
and the proposed land there is not zoned, and then they can't, I mean, they can't put it in, so I don't know what, so that's my question, why have they not come to us?
Because they know what we're gonna say.
Well,
They haven't come to us. That should tell us something.
Well, then eventually, someday, somehow, some way, they're gonna have to show up and say, hey, we realize we're outside of the boundaries. Can we? And then at that point, say, nah.
yeah,
I don't think they're gonna do it, Dan.
Well, they have
We
to have,
can.
Living over in this area, there's activity going on over there.
we can shut them down,
Something?
we can shut them
Dan,
down if they can show up and start working, so.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
And Dan, you might be able to answer it. You know, we have a police chief and we have a few deputies, and this, if they start expanding and doing things like this is basically bigger than our deputy could, or our police chief could handle, like someone going a little bit over the line.
You're wrong.
But who would we call to get this, you know, the law on them?
If we issue them a stop work order, that's all you gotta do.
But who's gonna monitor that? Who's gonna make sure it happens?
Yeah, who's gonna make sure they obey it? I mean, you can't expect a small town police officer to do that. Is there, you know, is there a marshal, or who does that?
I'm sure the next step is to take them into court.
Yeah, if they start coloring outside the lines, then you say, stop, by order of the town, quit doing it. And if they say tough stuff, then you go to court and the judge issues an order saying, quit doing it. And they can't afford to run afoul of a judge in a situation like that. It's just not going to happen if they do it that way.
and I guess my question might be for Debbie. Would they not have to come here and get permits before they turn the shovel full of dirt?
Yeah, they're supposed to.
And to grant that permit, it's got to comply with our ordinances.
Correct.
If they haven't done it yet, which makes you wonder.
Well, again, we can't, I mean, if they don't come and they start building, we can
Just shut
stop
it down.
them.
I mean, it's not that damn hard.
Okay, then let me ask another question, going back to ordinances, and I'm gonna be like Allison and beat a dead horse, but do we have in place ordinances that can regulate what that traffic looks like, when they operate, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And not just the asphalt plant, but the rock quarry too. Do we have those things in place? Hours of time they can operate, days they can operate, how many trucks they can bring. I mean,
Yeah, now they're grandfathered in. I don't know of anything that says that we can limit their operation. So,
Allison, Erica, is that true? Can we do that retrospectively? Retroactively?
Charlene, we'll need to refer that to Lois.
Okay, okay, that's fine. That's fine.
I mean, you got tomato trucks going all hours of the night.
Anybody else have anything?
Could I make another comment? I mean, should the town put Summers Taylor on notice that we have an ordinance?
They
that-
know, they know,
Gotten it in writing from us?
they know.
Well, knowing is one thing. Have you put them on notice? A formal notice is my question, I guess.
Good question, Judy.
They've been around long enough that they know how things work. So,
Yeah, they do.
Around long enough to know how things work. That's the issue. They're a very big company. They're very successful and they're very good at what they do. But my question is, if we don't at least put them on a formal notice that they're on a non-conforming piece of property and that they have to abide within that ordinance, because they're going to the state asking for operation on a different parcel of land than is what is allowed in the town of Unicoi. So that's my question or issue.
All right, well, for the here and now, they know about the 2 acre limitation. We know about the 2 acre limitation. If they go beyond that, then there is a mechanism that can cause them to cease and desist until the bigger issue is resolved. So we've beat this one pretty well tonight. Let's give it about 1 more minute. If somebody's got something 60 seconds worth to say, get it said, and then we're going to draw this meeting to a conclusion.
Dan,
Is Lois
I do have
there?
something to say, and that is, someone asked the question about, is this typically done with regard to measures and ordinances? And I will tell you that yes, indeed, communities, towns all across this country have measures and ordinances in place that are very specific to heavy industry operations. And I would be happy to help Charlene if she needs and share some information and move that forward so that we are not vulnerable.
Okay,
thank you.
That would be terrific. And at the proper time, we'll put that ball into play. No problem.
Wait, Dan, I'm confused. When is the proper time? After everybody's already moved back in and the rock quarry's back in operation?
The proper time, Charlene, is when there is rock hard.
That was bad.
Yeah, that they are outside the boundaries. And we can't just say, hold on, we think you're going to do something wrong. We've got to give them a chance to do something wrong before we can call a foul.
But I'm not talking about them, just them. I'm talking about ordinances in general.
Yep.
Even for the tire plant. I mean, we have to have some kind of law and order here that says this is what's acceptable and this is what's not acceptable in the town of Unicoi. So,
all right.
But what I'm hearing is that you guys aren't willing or wanting to do that.
It's already done. Zoning. I mean, that's, you can't just come and put something in somewhere where it's not zoned. So, yeah, zoning will take care of that. So.
All right.
No,
But that's
I
okay.
would like to suggest we ask Lois. I think, and I don't know you people, Judith, it says, but I
That's
think,
a Beckman's.
well, no, the question is, would that be smart to say, we know you are starting to think it this way, be aware we have zoning, be aware you are only allowed in 2 acres. Put it in writing, give it to them. I think that's a really good suggestion. You know, I don't know. I mean, I think we need to ask our attorney if we should
We will
do
do
that.
that.
Call Phyllis, shit, I'm looking at you. Call Lois, the other one, and tell her that you want her to write them a letter and make it perfectly clear what you want them to know. And I'm sure she will comply with your request. If there's no other discussion to be had, that subject is off the board now.
All right.
Thanks for taking so much time.
All right,
Appreciate it.
thanks. Thank you all.
Thank y'all.
Announcements.
Are they gonna change the meeting to?
Yes, yes. First item, starting next month, we'll be moving to the first Monday at 5:30. Okay,
Well, what about Labor Day of 2025?
now we'll deal with that when we get there. Right now, starting next
One of
month,
those.
we're moving planning to the first Monday at 5:30.
And guys, if you don't mind me to interject now, I have, as you know, the development district, we cover the first congressional district. So we have several municipalities. Erica and I are the 2 planners, and I had another one of my municipalities meets on the first Monday. So I at 6 o'clock all the way in Hawkins County. So I unfortunately won't be able to stay with you all, but you know, it'll be in-house. Erica has met with you guys before. She's fantastic. And I will, of course, only be a phone call away and email away. And my suggestion on the previous topics we talked about, if you all wanted to do like a workshop, I think that would be a great idea. Another one of my municipalities has done that, and they've really gotten to sit down and just take time out. Those who wanted to come and talk about it could come and go through the ordinance, go through things, you know, sit down, talk about it, have an open discussion, and go from there. So that would be my suggestion if you guys wanted to do a workshop on that at a later date. For those, and just to get, you know, more educated on that. And again, Phyllis, she emailed me earlier and had a question on some continued education requirements. And as a planning commission, as members, you are supposed to complete 4 hours of education every year. And that workshop could count towards one of those hours as well. If you guys want to just get together and brainstorm ideas or just read over, I think, and I can email you guys the ordinance that I have as well for you guys. So just so you could read through it and see, that's what I was doing there while y'all were talking. But yeah, I'll email that to you guys as you know, as soon as we get off of here, and just so y'all can have it. And at a later date, if y'all wanted to get together and talk about it, you can. Of course, Lois knows far more than I do about all the legal stuff. And Erica will take great care of you. She's great. And like I said, if there's anything that I can do, I'm just a phone call away. So
Thank you for all your work.
Also,
And I am interested in that workshop.
Okay.
that's just our luck. We go through planners. We haven't had a planner for 3
yeah,
years.
I hate it too.
Guys,
Like as soon as that happened, I was like, Dad burned, because it's just a scheduling conflict. And the way it came about, I was like, I just didn't know what to do. And so, but yeah, it worked out really well. Like I said, Erica's going to take great care of you, and I will, of course, I'm a phone call, email away, and we'll still work on stuff together. So everything's staying in house. At least there's nobody like new coming aboard.
We have a commitment survey that we will forward to you for your.
Yeah.
I have a quick, I know Dan especially is very anxious to get going, but I have a quick thing that I did ask Allison. I've had my neighbors ask, she cornered me in Food City and asked me all these questions. And this is the third time I've been on planning and I could not answer her questions. And I really, Charlene and I guess I don't remember who else, we went to our classes last time. Speaker didn't show up. And so we spent 2 hours hearing about the river, and
Yeah.
we need to go back and say, I mean, I don't know why my neighbor has to have 5 acres on an agricultural lot and then break off 1 acre. I don't understand that. I mean, I don't understand why you can't have a half-acre agricultural lot. I'm sitting there going, well, why am I questioning this? I should know this. So I do think we need to go back to grammar school and just do this remedial stuff again.
Definitely. There are actually one of the hours that y'all are supposed to complete are private property rights. And that kind of goes in explanation of a subdivision. Because a lot of times, we think of a subdivision like Clearwater Estates or something like that, when in fact, any subdivision in the state of Tennessee is a lot, two or more lots under 5 acres. So, I mean, you could be out on the side of a mountain that's under 5 acres and it's 2 lots or more. That's a subdivision. So definitely Eric and I will get that information to you guys. It can be in PowerPoint form, and y'all can just, go through them at the meetings. But definitely any questions you have, that's a very good question. And I did discuss it with Pamela and I sent her the information. So she should be clear. And of course, Doug, Treadway, her surveyor, he can explain all that stuff to her as well. I think there was just miscommunication there. I think
it's cost her a fortune just to break off a little piece of land for her son.
Yeah, so but that should all be taken care of now. And but yeah, we look forward to taking care of you guys, and I have enjoyed it. Sorry it's been such a short tenure, but
also with the continued education, I don't know if Allison got the email because she's still new to the email chain with all the planners in our area, but they're starting to look at doing virtual workshops. And I think one of them was going to be private property rights. They just haven't come out with the schedule yet. As soon as we get the schedule of when they're going to do their virtual workshops and trainings, they'll be sent over.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. All right, got one more announcement from the Department of Agriculture. Starting October 6th, they're going to be dropping rabies baits via helicopter and fixed-wing aircraft, and Unicoi County is in the area. So, October 6th to the 24th, small white packets. So, yeah, it says don't pick them up, don't touch them.
Say that again. They're dropping what?
Rabies packets, little rabies.
Don't eat it.
Baits.
Does that mean I don't have to take my dog to the vets?
No, this is for,
just go find where they drop them, Phyllis.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, this is rabies vaccines for raccoons. It's aimed at. So, okay. All right.
Hi, everybody. Since we've got you all here today, you should have received an email today. If you didn't, let me know and I'll make sure you get one. There's going to be a ribbon cutting for Unicoi's newest business, The Buzz, right down here next to Crackerbees. That's going to be Friday, this Friday at 11:30 in the morning. We ask that everybody come out and help us celebrate their grand opening and shop. And wear your mask. Yes.
Right.
Oh, wait, Ashley.
Yes, I'm here.
Tell them about the drive-in movie, and you should put that up in the post office too. That's so cool.
For both events, we'll be going out tomorrow. Today was a pretty hectic day. It always is when we have a meeting at night, and we had daytime this morning. But yes, we are Saturday night going to be doing a drive-in movie. We're going to be showing Disney's Aladdin, and the gates will open at 7. The movie will begin around 8, and we will be having concessions. Little Caesar's pizza, $1 per slice, or $6 for a whole pie, and then candy and drinks. And again, wear masks, please.
At the visitor center.
Yes, at the visitor center. We're actually gonna put it on the back of the caboose, so we're really excited.
Oh, that'll be great.
And a quick update, the cabooses, they started last week on priming and prepping, and we're hoping maybe by the end of next week, we'll have paint on her.
That's great.
So, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Debbie, you got anything for us?
No. Good.
Anybody else?
I make a motion to adjourn.
All right, all, sure. Thank you all.
Notice we're
Yeah.
still gonna be recording,
Okay.
because we just switch over to the next one.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
I'll be good.
You too, sir.
All right, I'll be over.
Get your paycheck.
I'll be, we're filling it out.
That'll be done for paycheck.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be even harder now. We're going 5:30.
Get in that wedding.
One of the brands.
Okay.
They work, Doug knows all about it.
So just show them. Thank you, Dan. Bye. Bye, Dan.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dave. See you later. Holler at me.
All right, I will be right. I gotta get my computer charger. I'll be right back.
Now, show it to you. Lois never made it out.
Okay. Very good.
We called the Board of Zoning Appeals to order on Monday, September 14th, 2020. 2020. Roll call.
Philip Hensley. Doug Hobson,
Here. I can see you, can hear you.
Johnny Lynch,
Here.
Todd Higgins,
Here. I can see. Hear you.
Wanda Radford.
Here, I can see and I can hear.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
All right, on the approval of the August 10th, 2020 meetings, is there a motion for approval? A motion is second, any discussion? Roll call.
Doug Hobson,
Yes.
Johnny Lynch,
Yes.
Todd Higgins, Wanda Radford.
Yes. Okay, it's the Daniel Johnson, this is for the administration of the oath, is he?
They were here. I'm not first up.
Okay.
You bet.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And old business, there is none. On our new business is the discussion and review on 114 Meadows Drive, Unicoi, Tennessee, 37692, tax map 002M, partial 009.00. Variance to Article 7, Section 701.10, which states in an A1 agriculture district, customary accessory buildings for residential uses, providing the structure is located in the rear yard and not closer than 12 feet to any lot line.
Should be 6 feet. He wants a 6 feet variance. The gentleman brought these pictures, brought the diagram and brought with the application a minute ago. He says it's got a permanent structure too, so it's, it's a
Carport.
24 to 30 carport. It's a carport, and there's no concrete, just gravel and it's portable. So that's makes it a little different too, but he's asked to give us a 6 foot setback in the corner there, so he can get 2 boats in. And behind the house is sewer lines, septic lines, and all, we can't build over that. So there's pictures. Here's the driveway, and this is, here's where we're gonna build right now. That here, this is front. And it's on the back side of his house, on the very back corner.
Allison, what's your recommendations from the state?
Of course, my recommendation is always to uphold the what we have in our ordinance, to where, you know, if it says 12 feet, that's what I'd like to adhere by. I know the gentleman, when he submitted it, it was for a carport to park his boats. But again, it's up to you guys. As far as where I go, I of course will align with the law. Keep it as, you know, fair as possible, but I would personally decline it, just because it's not the 12-foot. But I also understand if, you know, his property cannot really, I'm trying to think of the word for it, doesn't fit to have that accessory structure. And if it is needed, then of course I would grant it. But if there's like the topography or driveway or something is hindering him from building this carport.
Yes, well, we've had some that the reason why they do come is because they know they're not in compliance and it is a hardship case. So, you know, we've had it approved from the different planners when they have told us that it is, and they have recommended, you know.
Okay, yeah, if it is a hardship, like I said, you know, the driveway, something is interfering, the topography, then if it is creating a hardship, then I would approve it.
They were here to plead their case. We told them we're closed meeting on that, but they said that's what it is. There's sewer, septic line, sewer behind the house, and the driveway comes down. That's the only place in the back corner to put, and it's like I said, it's portable. So a lot of times we don't even ask them to come in and permit on the portable like that with gravel.
And this would be a hardship clause for them.
Okay.
They could.
Okay, then yes, yeah. If any time there's a hardship, then a variance, I would suggest to grant it.
Okay, is there a motion to approve? Motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Roll call.
Doug Hobson,
Yes.
Johnny Lynch,
Yes.
Todd Higgins,
Yes.
Wanda Radford.
Yes. Other business, there is none. Okay, is there a motion for adjournment?
Motion adjourned.
All in favor by saying aye? So adjourned. Thank you, Allison.
Yes, thank you guys. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, Erica. And thank you, Ashley.
Go meet my family.
Thank you, Allison.
Dinner.
Bye, guys.
I know, come on.
You go ahead, don't see Brett Franco.
Yeah, yeah, probably.